Calling to order the Cuyahoga County Council regular meeting for Tuesday, February the 14th, 2017. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Calling the roll, Ms. Conwell? Here. Mr. Jones?
Here.
Ms. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Hairston?
Here.
Ms. Simon?
Here.
Ms. Baker?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Tuma?
Here.
Mr. Gallagher?
Here.
Mr. Strawn?
Here.
Council President Brady?
Here.
You do have a quorum.
Pledge of Allegiance. Our next item is silent meditation. I believe Councilwoman Conwell has.
Yes, I would like all of us to have a silent meditation for a young student named Alana DeFries and her family whose life was taken on her way to school.
Okay. We are going to move to public comment. Since we have the largest crowd that we've had in 6 years for the new county council. Go ahead. Go ahead. We're glad to see all the public interest in the county's business. I just want to read a comment because I know a lot of you, I'm just assuming, having been here for the last 6 years, may not have been to a county council meeting. And so I want you to understand how we operate the county council meeting. Of course, I want to thank you for attending. I know many of you are here to speak about the proposed Quicken Loan Arena project. For those who are new to council, this is the first of 3 readings this resolution will have before it is considered for adoption. The bulk of the council's deliberations on this matter will take place in committee. The first committee meeting is scheduled to take place 1 week from today on February the 21st at 2 p.m. If you would like to speak during the public comment and have not already signed in with the clerk, be sure to do so. As a reminder, comment is limited to 3 minutes per person. Before speaking, please review the rules of decorum printed on the sign-in sheet. Everyone who wishes to speak will have an opportunity to do so. In an effort to be respectful to everyone's time, however, we would request that the number of speakers be limited to the extent that your comments may be substantially similar to one another. If you are here as part of an organized group, we would request that you'll select a few spokespersons to communicate on your behalf, if possible. For those of you who would like to submit a written comment or choose not to speak for the sake of time, you may still submit a sign-in sheet with the clerk, and we will note your attendance for the public record. For anyone who may be unable to attend future council meetings, I want to remind you that all of our meetings are live streamed on council's website and archived on the county's YouTube channel. And if you parked in the attached garage and you need to have your parking validated, the clerk staff can assist you. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone to speak on comments related to the agenda?
Yes, we do, Mr. President. However, I first want to note that we have received 2 items for the record that were written. The one is from the Honorable Anthony Tagliati, and another is from Zach Bruel. So I will submit those in the public record and then provide council with copies.
Thank you. I know we have some disturbance out here, and I can understand how people may feel.
Mr.
We
President.
rarely fill up this.
Excuse me, Mr. President, is your microphone on?
I'm sorry. There is a limitation by the fire department, so we really can only go so far. Again, it's the largest meeting we've ever seen, so we'll do the best we can. First speaker, please.
The first speaker is Donna Weinberger. So when I call your name, please step up to the podium and make. Actually, Rabbi Caruso is going to go. Oh, okay. Rabbi Caruso, sure, please follow me. All right, the microphone's all ready to go.
Thanks so much. Good afternoon, council members. It was really wonderful to be here, and County Executive Budish. We at GCC are thrilled to be here and exercise our civic right. We're proud residents of Cuyahoga County. My name is Rabbi Josh Caruso from Anshe Chesed Fairmount Temple. I am a leader with Greater Cleveland Congregations. I'd like to take this moment just to recognize the demographics that are here, as mentioned earlier, but those of you who are from Greater Cleveland Congregations or from the Cuyahoga County Progressive Caucus, would you stand up or just give us a hello? Great. We recognize also that there are folks who are employees of Quicken Loans Arena. If you're an employee of Quicken Loans, could you let us know if you're here? All right. Great that we're all here to recognize our civic responsibilities. As you probably know, GCC has serious fundamental problems with the Quicken Loans Arena deal. You will hear more from GCC in the coming days about our detailed specific concerns with the Q deal. But for now, we'd like to lift up 5 important questions for the council and press to consider. 1, why has County Executive Budish and the Cavs publicly represented the Q deal as an even 50-50 split between the public and the Cavs, when in fact the public will be paying $38 million more than the Cavs when the costs of borrowing are factored in? How is that a 50-50 deal? 2, in November, the city of Cleveland raised income taxes by 25% on everyday working people in order to pay for basic services. Why was this money needed if the city apparently has access to the tens of millions of dollars available from the Q deal? Why did the county, city, and the Cavs withhold information about the pending Q deal from the public until after the vote on the income tax? 3, if the public is being asked to spend $160 million for the stadium upgrade to the Q, which is in addition to the millions the public already contributes to the sin tax, what is to stop the Indians and the Browns from asking for a similar deal in the next few years? Doesn't this open the floodgates to similar huge upgrades at the other sports venues? Where does it stop? 4, how is it possible that Destination Cleveland, our tourism bureau, has $44 million available in its budget to contribute to this deal? How was it determined that the Q upgrade was the best use of these capital funds, especially when there are other huge capital needs around the county? With the Cavs, we are all in, but with this deal, not. This deal is premised on the notion that upgrading the Q will delay the need for a totally new arena for many years. What guarantee does the county and city have that the Cavs will not turn around in the next 5 to 10 years and demand a totally new stadium, especially if Mr. Gilbert sells the team to a new owner, as has been rumored he may do in the next few years? Why isn't it the county and city demanding a legal agreement stating that if the upgrade for the Q is approved, that any new stadium in the next 20 years will be 100% financed by the Cavs? What protections do we have on our investment? Thank you.
The next speaker is Donna Weinberger.
Do I have to press something? No. My name is Donna Weinberger. I'm here representing Greater Cleveland Congregations. We have 43 member congregations and neighborhood organizations. We represent 100,000 citizens throughout Cuyahoga County. A quick primer on GCC for those who are not yet familiar, and you should get familiar with us, I'm just saying, because we're going to be around here a lot. In the 5 years since our founding, GCC has acted powerfully in bringing about equity in our county. A few examples. In healthcare, GCC convened the first Medicaid expansion coalition in the state, ultimately leading to its passage. In education, GCC organizes parents and teachers in the Cleveland Municipal School District. We also played a major role in and had the biggest get out the vote effort in the city on all 3 recent school levies. In criminal justice reform, GCC played a major role in shaping the consent decree. We also helped lower the rate of nonviolent, low-level offenders who have been unnecessarily charged with felonies by 25% over 4 years. In jobs, GCC led a listening campaign to speak with 1,500 residents to understand their stories. These stories will guide us as we commit to find ways to return 1,000 at-risk and returning citizens into jobs. As for myself, I live comfortably in Solon, in Representative Schron's district. I enjoy what downtown has to offer: Cavs games, theater, restaurants, and yet I find this deal unconscionable. This deal is not fair, it is not equitable, and it is not the best we can do to bring vitality and growth to all our neighborhoods. As a person of faith in GCC, I know that I am only as comfortable as my neighbor. In fact, in GCC, we are always all for one and one for all in our justice work. Taking my cue from our greatest Cavs player ever, as he appears in the newly released Nike ad entitled Equality, we state the ball should bounce the same for everyone. I'm also a mental health therapist, and I see tragedies unfold daily before my eyes. Not enough treatment facilities, opiate deaths, mentally ill people filling our prisons because there is nowhere else for them to go. GCC is taking the lead in finding real solutions to these problems, yet we're told there's no money for them. In sum, GCC believes we can do better. We must do better. As our elected officials, I'm turning to you, we are all turning to you, and we are asking you to find a better deal. Thank you.
The next speaker is Pastor Richard Gibson or Reverend Linda Robinson. I'm not sure who's still here.
Good evening, members of County Council. Richard Gibson, one of the co-chairs of GCC and pastor of Elizabeth Baptist Church in Slavic Village. Over the last 40 years here in Cleveland, I've seen a tale of 2 cities. So I've seen a city that has been developed downtown and been developed quite well. But I've also seen the inner city, the residents in the neighborhoods, go undeveloped to a significant degree. And so as we think about the tax revenue that has come in.
I am very sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
We have no banners and no signs, I'm sorry. Council rules. Thank you.
Raise speech.
Please proceed.
So as we think about the revenue that has come from downtown over the last 40 years, if we just isolate the casino revenue, for example, the $7 million of casino revenue that has come in, $4 million of it has gone to the renovations of Playhouse Square, and $3 million has gone to the flats, but none of it has spilled over to our neighborhoods. If we look at it more specifically, and this is according to a county document, some of the Gateway Development Funds, so there was one source of revenue that was $240.5 million. It was the first of a 15-year excise tax. There was $125.5 million, which was another county excise tax, $38.2 million, $8.6 million, $8.8 million, and the list goes on. And so we have this history. We have this history of money that has come back in for the development, but the citizens who funded that, the citizens who paid their taxes, the citizens who have worked hard in this community are not benefiting from it. And so the simple question that we ask today, if we were looking at this from a business perspective, what's the best return on investment? If we were looking at this, if we were thinking about this, how would I allocate these funds and what's going to be the best return on investment? There has not been any information provided to date about whether this is the highest and best use of funds. And so as we think about the young persons in our neighborhoods who do not have strong after-school programs, as we think about the crime that persists, as we think about infant mortality, as we think about lead, as we think about the joblessness in our community, as we think about the mental health crisis, is this the highest and best use? And we're here to say that we're not ready to stand idly by when money is being allocated and these conditions continue. 21% of the houses are vacant in our city. The median income is 54% of the state average. Half of the people, if you look at Cleveland and Elyria, live in poverty. And so quite simply, is this the highest and best use? If this deal is allowed to pass as it exists, we will look back at this years from now and we will say we did not do our part. This deal is not in the best interest of the city, this county, or even in the best interest of the Cavs. This is not the best deal for the Cavs. We are not all in. We are not ready to have this deal go forward. What's the real return on the investment?
The next speaker is Gregory Terrell.
Good evening. My name is Gregory Terrell, and I am the Executive Director of the Society for Nonviolent Change, which is an organization that seeks to end the street violence in Cleveland. I am also a leader with GCC and a proud member of Olivet Institutional Baptist Church. Every day I'm in public housing in our neighborhoods trying to stop the killing going on in our streets. I'm there on the spot after every murder, comforting grieving families and trying to make sure there's no retaliation. I work in environments that most folks are scared to go in. When I heard that the county and the city were ready to spend $160 million of the public's money to put into making the queue all shiny and new, I lost my mind. Now I see Armand Budish running all over the county, spending hours of his time and effort, making presentations to the clergy and community people about how important this deal is. It has to stop right now. Last year we had over 135 homicides in Cleveland. 135. When young black people were getting gunned down in Glenville, Mount Pleasant, and on the west side on the Detroit Shoreway, I never once saw Armand Budish or a single council member here do a thing about it. Where was the Armand Budish when Devontae Patton got killed on Shaker Boulevard, or when Roderick Redwine was murdered in Central? I grew up in Cleveland, and for my whole life, politicians have been pumping millions into downtown while our neighborhoods starve and burn. I'm here to say it stops now. Council members, you have a decision to make here tonight. Which matters more to you, Black life in Cleveland or Dan Gilbert and his billions? It's that simple. Our young people are shooting and robbing each other because they need jobs. If I had 2,000 living wage jobs I could give to these young people, we could cut the homicide rate in half in Cleveland tomorrow. That's why I support the creation of the Community Equity Fund, which will put millions of dollars into distressed neighborhoods, not just downtown, and help job opportunities for folks who need it the most. The power is in your hands, council members, to make a better future for Cleveland. Support the Community Equity Fund. Support Black life in our city. My prayers are with you. Thank you.
The next speaker is Pastor Jawanza Colvin.
Good evening. The Jawanza Colvin, pastor of the Olivet Institutional Baptist Church here in the city of Cleveland. Councilpersons, I want to thank you for this opportunity. And I heard our council chair point out that in the 6 years of the councils being together, this is the largest assembly they have ever had in a meeting. I draw your attention to June 22nd of 2016. That's when over 1 million people from Cleveland and Cuyahoga County gathered downtown to celebrate the winning of an NBA championship by our Cleveland Cavaliers. We have never seen this city and this region as united, as together, as on one accord as we saw on that day. But if you look behind me, you are squandering, and we are squandering that unity. If you look behind me, all of the goodwill that the Cleveland Cavaliers have built over the investment of that team, it is now dividing this city and this county. I hope that Mr. Gilbert is watching and listening, because he has the power to bring back the unity to this city, because this city is being divided by a deal that cannot stand. We have 3 requests. The first request is slow this down. This is being fast-tracked. This is 2-card Molly. This is pinochle. This is Texas Hold'em poker, whatever you want to call it, but you need to slow down this deal until the public has ample time to unravel, to look under every nook and cranny. And I am amazed how we can find the creative, imaginative, innovative energy to strap together $160 million. But we can have people divide churches, divide preachers, and divide community organizations in order to keep the community from having a community equity fund. We can support a sin tax. We can support a sin tax, but we have to fight for a community equity fund. We can support a tax that destroys people's health, that causes people to be in AA and substance abuse programs, that causes millions and millions of dollars. We can fight for a sin tax on one accord, but we have to wrestle for pennies for fun. We asking, slow this down. Support a community equity fund. And on March the 9th, we ask all of you join us at the Elizabeth Baptist Church for our in Slavic Village, one of the most devastated communities in the country for foreclosure, where we will have a public hearing and invite you to be present. And Mr. Gilbert, bring this to an end.
Excuse me, ma'am.
I thought they forgot me.
Next.
The next speaker is Mr. Dave Wondolowski.
Good evening, Council. I'm Dave Wondolowski. I'm the Executive Secretary of the Cleveland Building and Construction Trades Council. Our organization of 14,000 members belonging to 17 craft unions support this project. The men and women who belong to the Cleveland Building Trades built the Q. It's a good building. It's well built. It's because it was built by union workers who know what they're doing and know how to build things right. Yes, this proposal To improve the Q means jobs for my folks, and of course, that's a good thing, but that's not my prime motivation for being here tonight. The Gateway Sports Complex and the Q and the ballpark, which members of our trades council also built, has triggered a multi-billion-dollar revitalization of downtown Cleveland. Remember what Gateway was like before those buildings were built. It was a ghost town. Nobody can deny that Quicken Loans Arena has been very, very good for downtown Cleveland. All of the other construction projects that have come in the wake of the Q and the ballpark have meant more jobs for our people, our members, and our community. And the new businesses, the hotels, the restaurants, they've meant more jobs for Greater Cleveland. Quicken Loans Arena is a busy, well-utilized building, more than 200 diverse events a year. The Q brings people and lots of them to Cleveland. Look at it this way, even if you don't ever set foot in the Q, if you've never attended any events there, you should, as a person living in Greater Cleveland, support this building. In 2016, Quicken Loans Arena generated $44 million in tax revenues. Since it opened in '94, it has generated nearly $500 million in tax revenues. Where would we be with all that? Yes, this proposal involves a public investment, but there are no new taxes. There are tens of millions of dollars spent each year in Cleveland by people who are here only because they are attending events at the Q. The facts of Major League Sports and attracting top-shelf entertainment demand venues remain current. To let a building like this slowly diminish would drain the horsepower from this great economic engine. This is not about downtown versus the neighborhoods. I want to be really clear about that. This is about our collective future. But for the Q, the city wouldn't have collected $176 million in taxes. But for the Q, the county wouldn't have collected $47 million in taxes. But for the Q, we wouldn't have thousands of jobs for people who live in Cleveland and Cuyahoga County neighborhoods. The Q helps our communities and our neighborhoods, and we shouldn't have to take our foot off the accelerator now. Please vote for this proposal. Thank you.
The next speaker is Terry Joyce. Terry Joyce.
We will not be able to conduct this meeting if it is disrupted. This is not a town hall meeting. This is a formal meeting of the county council. We have rules, and we've got a lot of people here. We would ask everybody to respect that so we can give people the chance they need to speak and be heard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, County Exec, County Council. I appreciate your deliberation and appreciate the community's involvement in this issue. I'm Terry Joyce, Business Manager of Labor's Local 310. I also serve as President of the Cleveland Building Trades. And not to be redundant with Dave Wondolowski, I erased half my speech, so you should be thankful of that. I respectfully ask, as Dave did, for you to consider adoption of this proposal for the much-needed investment in this important asset in our community. It is not by accident that investment dollars keep pouring into our town. Our own investment fund, called the Erect Fund, out of Pittsburgh, in the last 5 years has completed the conversion of the Dominion East Ohio building. They've also completed the Courtyard by Marriott next to University Hospital, and we now are the lead investment in One Cleveland Center, which is up there where the old Children's Museum sat. These dollars would not be coming from Pittsburgh if it wasn't for this region, if it wasn't for the hard work that you have all do. Like I told my friend in the back there, now's the time to stay on the pedal. Don't step on the brake. These jobs keep our people busy. I've heard respectfully from the other side, and I have friends on that other side, that, this just creates temporary jobs. Just as a little side note to that, the average construction worker in this country spends 3 to 4 months on a particular job. We, as construction workers, have to make a 30-year career out of temporary jobs. So in due respect to the Reverend, when they talk about no spillover, there's constant spillover from these dollars. Mr. Gilbert, when he built the casino, went above and beyond the calling when he entered into the community benefit agreement. He held our feet to the fire to give young people in this community the opportunity, to give the opportunities for people of color, to give the opportunities to female workers in the construction industry, and we hit all those goals on the casino. I won't speak for him, but I know this project will do the same, because I know him. I know he will insist on that. So after the gun was built, on both owners, on by themselves, has poured $400 million into this arena. $400 million. I know a laborer that spent 3 years in that facility, not on tax dollars, but on the owner's dollars. We humbly ask that you keep the momentum that we have in Cleveland going. We humbly ask that you adopt this proposal, and yes, indeed, we are all in.
The next speaker is Mr. Steve Holeko.
I am the political director of the Cuyahoga County Progressive Caucus, which is an activist organization comprised of thousands of people in Northeast Ohio, ready to work on progressive activist causes, such as this proposed tax giveaway to renovate the Q. We view this project as simply nothing more than another giveaway in the corporate welfare system, taking money that could be used for the people. As many who have testified and many who will testify will say. Now, our organization has 3 buzzwords: educate, organize, mobilize. When we educate on this issue, I do not think it's going to be hard to organize and mobilize the court of public opinion against this project as it's currently structured. I want to say 2 things. First, we are all in when it comes for cheering for the Cavs for their 2nd consecutive world championship. What we're not all in for is this deal. Second thing is, unlike the building trades and unlike the Q employees that are here, we have no vested financial interest in this. Our organization is all volunteer funded and all volunteer staffed. Some math and some common sense. This project is supposed to yield $235 million in new revenue. The cost is $140 million, maybe up to $168 million after interest is figured in. Private sector, particularly Dan Gilbert, can afford this easily. If I had $140 million and I could make $235 million, that's a good deal. Some common sense. When LeBron James retires, if the Cavs play poorly, the fans aren't going to come because of these renovations. Big concerts, Bruce Springsteen, Beyonce, they came before these renovations. They're not going to look at whether or not to stop in Cleveland. The renovations? No, they want a concert in the Northeast Ohio market. And finally, the biggest convention that Cleveland could possibly get, the Republican National Convention, came here without these renovations. So what is this for?
The next speaker is Tristan Rader.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us, and I want to say something that's not been stated yet. Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you all for convening and hearing us out in this public session. I'm proud to be a part of the Cuyahoga County Progressive Caucus. I'm one of the other volunteer leaders with Steve, the operation director. I just want to score and highlight this as not being something that our organization supports at all. We're coming out against it, and we ask that all of you vote no on this issue. And we also would welcome a community conversation with what we could do with this $140 million, which would end up being 160 after you add in the interest. So we welcome that discussion. We certainly support the GCC and their approach, and a community fund if that should be what the community decides. So I hope and I encourage you all to take leadership on these issues. And again, we just want to underscore that we do not feel like this is a very good business decision, on top of the fact that we have so many other issues in this county that we could be focusing on. So thank you guys so much for your time, and have a rest of your evening. Have a fun time.
The next speaker is Yavanka Hall.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Ivanka Hall, and I am the Outreach Director for the Cuyahoga County Progressive Caucus. So as an health disparities expert, I'm here to talk about the health issues that impact our community and why it's important for us to not be all in. One of the things that we do know is because of the our children that have witnessed violence are more likely to suffer post-traumatic stress syndrome, which we in the community call present traumatic stress syndrome. Children that have been in foster care are also more likely to have mental health issues. People that have been incarcerated are also more likely to have mental health issues. And that's why it's important for us to use our dollars to address those issues. Workforce development. It's important for us to have the 50% of African American men that are between 16 and 65 in the city of Cleveland that are currently unemployed, employed. Working cities are safe cities. When employment goes up, violence goes down. Employed people take care of their property and they pay their mortgage. Less blight in our communities. Neighborhood development projects. It's important to utilize our CDCs in the most impacted communities. We need infrastructure development for our streets. We need to address the lead issue in our older stock homes, whether it be by abatement, lead-safe rental registries, providing grants for the replacement of windows. We also need to create a pathway to business ownership. We have a lot of people who could actually help put some of our community members to work. Adding transportation routes back into our city. Rehabbing or demolishing our homes. The homes that are listed for demolishing could also possibly be rehabbed. This would actually help our families to have a safe place to live for their children and their grandchildren. Creating a community alliance to serve as crossing guards, community cleanup crews, and to assist seniors and faith communities with minor home repairs and to repair of a lot of our crumbling infrastructure as far as our churches. Richard Sherman of the Seattle Seahawks stated that if he had his way, billionaires who own NFL and sports teams would foot the bill for the stadiums. And he's a player, okay? It is time for the citizens of Cleveland and Cuyahoga County to use our bargaining power to change the way we're treated downtown.
The next speaker is Mr. Rocco Whalen.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hi there. One of my most stressful days, Valentine's Day. But as busy as all restaurants are tonight, I wanted to take a moment to come down, say a few words. I'm never too busy for my community, the city of Cleveland, its officials, or the fine individuals who make Cleveland so special, the people. I appreciate the opportunity to say a few words. This is what a healthy government should and is all about, and I'm honored to be here to parlay my message. I've been in business in Cleveland since 2001. My first restaurant on the western edge of downtown Cleveland, Tremont, Fahrenheit, has led me to many other successful opportunities in and only in and around the urban core, which includes food trucks, fast casual eateries, restaurants and sports venues, rock and roll halls, and other downtown destinations. No loan, no help from the city, not knowing how difficult it was in 2001 started and led me to my success. Sustainable employment for my employees is a top priority and lends towards the economy, growth, and even more job creation. I prefer and even implore everyone to create more jobs. I can certainly grow in other neighborhoods and communities in Northeast Ohio, but my wife and I make a very clear choice to stay in the beloved city we call home. We have other restaurants in other states, including North Carolina and soon to be Florida. And this lends to having a strong firsthand knowledge of what other cities are doing and building to not only stay relevant, but also to continue to grow, sustain, and create as many jobs as possible. I feel Cleveland has made tremendous strides, but we must continue to stay competitive with other similar-sized markets and cities. I strongly support this project based on the many opportunities it will offer the city to grow, reestablish, and continue the positive growth based on all the hard work the people of Cleveland have continued to give back to their community, our community. My wife and I have always pledged our love for Cleveland and our hometown. We both grew up in Cuyahoga County. The blue and white collared workers who make this city more lively and lovable daily are the strongest reason I stand before you today, as I am one of you. I roll my sleeves up daily, just like the next person and the person before me. If you know me personally, you know how closely I am involved with several different programs and charities in and around Greater Cleveland. I would also like to add that my own philanthropic and charitable contributions are better to benefit the city that I love, which is Cleveland. It's my job and duty to be a community-oriented public figure and chef that represents Cleveland. With that being said, I got a lot more to say, but I won't. LeBron James and championship basketball teams deserve championship facilities. I support this.
The next speaker is Mr. Norman Edwards.
Hi, good afternoon, Council President, County Executive. First of all, I'd like to thank the Council and the County Executive for working with the Black Contractors Group, my organization, with diversity and inclusion issues with Cuyahoga County. I'm here to support Dan Gilbert and Jeff Cohen and their organization 1,000%. A lot of jobs have been given with 30%, a mandate, not a goal on his jobs, not a goal. First time a developer has ever come to Cleveland and rolled out the carpet and said, we're going to have 30% minority participation as contractors and tradesmen. And I'm hearing people get up here and say about diversity and inclusion. Where were they at when I was coming down here asking about diversity and inclusion and had the meetings and Mr. Tarazi and Boatman? Where were all these damn people at? And I sat down with the county executive Budish for jobs for black people, black and minority inclusion. Where were they at? And then you got Dan Gilbert coming here, and I tell you this right now, I take a bullet for him. He's a great man. And I tell you this, the shakedown needs to stop. The shakedown needs to stop, okay? The shakedown needs to stop. Do something. Do something. Get jobs. I'm providing training. I'm putting people to work. Do something. I'm putting black people to work every day. Put them to work. Put them to work. Dan Gilbert is a good man, done good things for this city. This project must go forward. The city of North Randall and Warrensville have been revitalized. The number of jobs there at the Racino and the number of permanent jobs that are supplied I don't understand people. I really don't understand the black community at all. The man is doing great things. It's a drop in the bucket. Yeah, go ahead. So it's going to get passed. I'm urging everyone up here, in order for Cleveland to try to revitalize itself in Cuyahoga County, the upgrades are a necessary thing that definitely needs to happen. So, you know what? He's done great things, and like I said, he is a friend of mine. I don't have a lot of friends. Dan Gilbert is a friend. And let me say this to you. Deal with me. I don't run from nobody. I want this project to move forward so Cuyahoga County can continue going in the right direction. Go in the right direction. Don't go in the right direction. I tried to sit down with any and everybody. I've protested. I've been coming down here for 16 years.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
For diversity and inclusion. 16 years. 16 years. Where the churches at with me? Where you at? Where you at?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next.
Yeah, we can talk about that. We'll talk about it. Let's talk about it.
The next speaker is Mr. Fred DeSanto.
Mr. County Executive, Mr. Chairman, Council, appreciate the opportunity to come here and talk. My name is Fred DeSanto. I'm a lifelong Clevelander, born and raised here, educated here, both in high school and college. My grandparents came over on the boat, and I have never done this before. But I felt compelled because this is a hot issue. It's a great issue. And there are great debates on both sides. There really are. You can't argue when you want to help people. Can't argue that fact. And the county does help a lot of people. So let's not lose sight of that fact either, that the county does provide a lot. Can they do more? Sure, everybody can do more. But what this project does for Northeast Ohio, and it's about Northeast Ohio, what it does for Northeast Ohio, it will create jobs. I travel around the country. The city of Cleveland and Northeast Ohio is hot. It's hot. People are talking about us. We have put a lot of money to revitalize the region. Why should we stop? Why should we stop? Jobs are being created every day. Every day. And if you don't think our sports teams and our arenas are important to attract people, and not only for sports. I don't know if anybody knows the fact, but the Q was, I think, 13th in the world in ticket sales, other than sports. That's what's going on around here. And I am so sympathetic to the other needs, and I believe in those other needs, and I believe there are real needs there. But this project is too important. We are extending the lease. We're doing some great things. And yes, the Cavs are a beneficiary, but this is not only about the Cavs. This is about us. And I ask you, I urge you to not put this on the back burner. Let's get it done, let's start it, and let's get people to start working again. Thank you.
The next speaker is Terry Ewell.
Mr. County Executive, excuse my voice, I've been sitting back there for a while. Excuse me. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Terry Ewell. I'm the Executive Director of Shoes and Clothes for Kids. We're a 48-year-old nonprofit organization in Cleveland, helping get new clothing, new school uniforms, new shoes into the hands of Cleveland's neediest students. And we've been doing it successfully for 48 years. I want you to know how grateful and thankful for what all the professional sports teams do for our organization. They not only have provided funding for our programs, which goes directly into helping those kids, but they provided their staff and leadership on many issues to help us be better, be more efficient, and find ways to grow and serve more kids. The Cavs in particular, 2 years ago, gave us the largest grant we've ever had that has enabled us to increase the amount of shoe gift cards we provide to the 10 to 15,000 school kids we serve every year. So it's been a big help to us. And they have continued, their staff has continued to challenge us to find things we can do better and be more efficient to help those kids, and have always helped us then help find the funding. So we appreciate their help, and we urge your support of the project. Thank you.
The next speaker is Mark Nathanson.
Good evening. It's really a pleasure to be here tonight. I didn't expect all the passion that I've been feeling tonight, and it's really been exciting to hear both sides. And again, I want to echo that gentleman who said Happy Valentine's Day. My name is Mark Nathanson. I'm with Youth Opportunities Unlimited. We are an organization in Cleveland that supports our neediest of teenagers and young adults from 14 to 24. With the county's help and with the community's help, we're able to support 500 at-risk youth in high school and help them graduate, and also help them get jobs. We also, during the summertime, are able to get 3,000 young people jobs. And how we do that is with partnerships like the Cavs. They are not only a sports team for this community, but they're a supporter of organizations that do the types of things that we do. And without their vibrancy, without their support, we would not be able to support all the youth in Cleveland. And these youth want jobs. We get 13,000 youth that apply for these 3,000 jobs a year. And because of the Cavs and because of the sports teams, we're able to support them with jobs and internships. And it really, what we're able to do is create the next generation of leaders in our community, and our youth are going to be really successful because of this support that we have from the Cavs and the other sports teams. So today I just want to say thank you to the county for allowing us to speak, and I want to thank the Cavs and what they're trying to do for our city, which is going to create more jobs and safety for our children. Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Councilman Paul Marnichek.
Good evening. First off, I want to thank Chef Rocco Whalen. Thanks to his great restaurants, my wife has agreed to move Valentine's Day for us from tonight to Saturday. So I was able to get kind of a hall pass to be able to come and address you. The suburbs of Cleveland depend upon the health and well-being of the city of Cleveland. Economic development and the jobs that come with it are of great value to the suburbs, including North Royalton, where I've been proud to be able to say I'm a city councilman now since 2009. We need to keep our area competitive and its position in the future. That's what the Q transformation does. The renovations call for no tax increase and will cost a fraction of what other cities are paying to build new arenas. The changes will make the arena more competitive, and in my opinion, that's only a good thing for our region. I hope and I urge you to support this. Thank you.
The next speaker is Gloria Aaron.
It takes me a little while. I am going to put aside my notes and speak from my heart as a citizen, not just a member of Noble, which many of you know who we are. And I'm going to try not to repeat what many of my fellow neighbors and citizens are saying, because you already know that. My question is, especially Councilman Miller and Dan, you remember when they used to say Cleveland was the greatest city in the nation, however the hell it went, excuse my language. But what did they say today? Cleveland has the reputation of being second in poverty in the whole country. And we're talking about rebuilding or making more restaurants at a stadium that our kids can't go to. My grandson goes a couple times, but kids in my neighborhood, I know, have never been down there. I remember my daughter going to an Indians game almost every week. Our kids, the kids in my neighborhood, can't do that. Cleveland is more than downtown and sports arenas. This building, this group, is more than economic development. It's always been, sorry, my teeth are slipping. It has, it's hell to be 71. Now, time out, because I have to take a breath. We have to understand that for me and people who have been down here and all over the county working on community issues, look at you as the one responsible for health and human services. Isn't that one of the primary reasons you guys exist? To make sure our citizens' needs are being met? That's what we need. The Q and the damn sports, they're not losing money. They got profit hand over hand. Let them pay for it. I'm not against what the heck they do. They will impress me when I hear this Dan Gilbert, or whatever his name is, had said to Cleveland schools, the next Cav game, every kid is going to be given a free ticket. I want to know what is really important and what is your primary responsibility is when Metro Hospital comes here. And I know I'm over my time, but I'm taking another minute. The state has 700,000 Ohio citizens on Medicare. Our county has the most residents that are on Medicare of those 700,000. Metro Hospital is our public hospital. You know that because you know that you give it some money, not enough. And that's why I'm here today to say that's the request you should be looking at. That's what is important. Metro Hospital provides health care to every Cuyahoga citizen, regardless of their ability to pay. What does the sports do?
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Joe Marinucci.
Good evening, Council President, members of County Council, County Executive Budish. My name is Joe Marinucci, and I'm President and CEO of Downtown Cleveland Alliance. Downtown Cleveland Alliance represents property owners, businesses, and stakeholders in downtown Cleveland, and I'm here to support unequivocally the transformation project at the Q. Not so many years ago, downtown Cleveland was to a significant extent desolate and vacant. Today, downtown Cleveland is undergoing the biggest transformation of its lifetime, with over $5.5 billion worth of investment that has occurred over the last few years or is under construction currently. And I would also share with you that that momentum is very, very important to keep moving forward. The Q hosts nearly 200 events a year, and the Q is undeniably one of Cuyahoga County's largest economic engines that helped to trigger this renaissance. It's been at the core of stimulating the investment in the Gateway neighborhood and in downtown Cleveland. And remember, downtown Cleveland is the employment hub of the county and, if you step back, the state of Ohio. We have 95,000 people that work in downtown Cleveland every day. We've been able to increase that by about 3,000 to 4,000 in the last 5 years, principally because of amenities like the Q. We're attracting businesses that want to be here. And by the way, downtown Cleveland is the fastest growing neighborhood in the city of Cleveland with over 14,500 residents. We're adding 1,000 housing units to downtown Cleveland. At the end of this year, we will be at 15,500. And again, it all goes back to the Q and the investments that we've made in amenities like Playhouse Square and in this community. And I realize in many ways that this is a difficult decision. I hearken back to early 1990. Many of you in the room would remember the debate we had. I was the economic development director, and the council president is smiling, under Mike White, when we had a very, very difficult decision to make as a community. And that was the decision whether to bring a public-private partnership forward and transform this downtown with the Gateway investments. And remember, at that point, I was part of the team that helped negotiate bringing the Cavs in from Richfield. And we forget what it was like when those 200-plus events were out in an exurban area, not in the core of this community. And we made a difficult decision back then, 27 years ago. And I would say to you that that was the appropriate decision for this community to invest in this complex. And I think this equally is a difficult decision, but I think it will be as transformational a decision as the one that was made 27 years ago. So I strongly urge you to continue the momentum in downtown Cleveland, to invest in this facility, to keep it world-class, just like the county invested in a new convention center, which now allows us to compete regionally and in many ways nationally. And I assure you that the new facilities, the new arenas in Pittsburgh, in Detroit, in Columbus, will continue to attract investment unless we're capable of making this community decision, a difficult one, but one that I think we need to make. Thank you.
The next speaker is Gail Long.
Good evening, President Brady, County Executive Budish, and my County Councilperson, Chantel Brown. My name is Gail Long, and I'm a citizen of Cuyahoga County and have been since 1965. And during that time, I've spent a lot of time advocating for our public hospital, Metro Health. And if you can think about the headlines that you've seen since November about the Affordable Care Act, about the budget in Columbus and the whole issue of Medicaid expansion, and various other things that will impact the stability of that hospital, that health system. So I think that when you choose to establish the Community Equity Fund, which I know you will do, that you include Metro Health in that, and you think about the needs of their main campus in the heart of one of the poorest neighborhoods in the city, Clark Fulton. We are talking about a community that has a huge institution that, as Ms. Aaron said, serves all regardless of their ability to pay, that was built when there were no such thing as electronic medical records. And now everything is done that way. And they don't have the capacity to do that in the Twin Towers. It's, put a little bit of Band-Aid here, put a little Band-Aid there. I mean, I don't even like to go to the bathroom on the first floor of the Twin Towers because it's falling apart. And that shouldn't be in our gem. That's our gem over there in Clark Fulton off of West 25th. The Justice Center, the same kind of thing. These are our places. These are our places where we serve people. And, you know, I have to admit, I did not support Gateway 27 years ago. I did not. I did not think that we as citizens should be paying for a for-profit business under the cloak and dagger of a nonprofit. I mean, it just didn't make any sense to me, but it is what it is. So, when the project was announced, why is it that the mayor and our county executive did not simultaneously announce a dollar-for-dollar match for a community equity fund? Wouldn't that be the right thing to do? I would urge you to think about it in that way so that we don't have to come and beg every time we feel that the community deserves and is entitled to an equal amount of investment as we are putting in for-profit businesses. So I urge you to do the right thing. Thanks.
The next speaker, Rico Dancy.
Good afternoon, Council, viewers. If we could build a park downtown, I do not agree with making that big, the queue. I don't agree with that. If we could build park downtown, let's talk about our schools, the abandoned houses, and our roads and our streets. It's terrible. Let's be fair. I would say no to it. I'm the president of the National Black Deaf Advocate. I would tell my people to tell y'all no. I will continue to say no. Thank you.
Mr. Satinder Puri.
Mr. Perry, where have you been?
Well, Mr. President, being a senior citizen, I'm totally dependent on the weather in our community. Whenever there is snow or ice on the sidewalks, I just have to stay home. So anytime the weather is clear, a senior citizen like me, 70 years old, ventures outside into a beautiful city.
I'll go with the clear weather then.
Okay, good evening. Good evening. County Executive Budish, Council President, Vice President, and Council members. My name is Satinder P.S. Puri. I'm a community activist and a volunteer teacher at a CMSD school. This is my 13th year. The title of my comments is, "Hey bro, can you spare a dime for Dan Gilbert, the billionaire owner of the Cavs, the 2016 NBA champs?" As a towel-headed Clevelander, I support all our major sports teams and proudly wear their symbols under my headgear. As an activist, I'm aware that in Cleveland, Ohio, there are 3 ways of doing things: the right way, the wrong way, and the Cleveland way. The Cleveland way, of course, is where in solving our societal problems, we screw the less fortunate to benefit the more fortunate. Sin taxes on alcohol and cigarettes, consumed mostly by the less fortunate, support the billionaire owners of the Cavs, the Indians, and the Browns. Sin taxes on cigarettes, again consumed mostly by the less fortunate, to benefit the mostly rich arts establishment, who talk endlessly about the need to pursue social justice among the less fortunate, while at the same time screw the less fortunate for their own financial gain. And then we have Jimmy DeMora Public Square, a bogus project whose main objective is to benefit the rich and powerful in downtown with an appreciation in property values, while RTA riders, the poor, working class, senior citizens, disabled, and students are getting screwed with increased fares and reduced services. And the owner of the Cavs, worth $5 billion, wants taxpayers to pay $70 million towards the upgrade of a 22-year-old arena. And our elected officials, in a county with loads of existing debt and high poverty rates, are cooking up schemes, taking money from here and there, helter and skelter, and bending over backwards to help a billionaire. And if they are not successful, Mr. Gilbert may take his team and move to some other city. Also, Mr. Gilbert has promised if the taxpayers give him the money he needs, Cleveland will not only host an NBA All-Star game, he will give away free tickets for basketball games. So, bro, spare a dime for the billionaire Mr. Gilbert, and you may get a free ticket to the Q, also known as Cleveland's living room. So, no to corporate welfare. For billionaire Cavs owners, yes to go Cavs. I have a document for the record. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Mayor Stanley Cosi.
Good evening, Mr. President, Council, Mr. Budish. I'll be short and sweet. You know, that this region has its share of economic challenges over the past decades. You get one I can read here. But we've had a growing number of economic success stories, and our image has brightened considerably in the past several years. The Q Transformation Plan will be another economic success story, a job creator and an image builder that helps all communities and residents of Cuyahoga County. This is our arena, not just one team's home. This is a vibrant public asset, and this plan deserves our support. Thank you.
Mayor Brad Sellers.
There we go. It's too fancy. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, County Council, County Executive Budish. Let me just say this. I stand here before you as the mayor of Warrensville Heights. I am in support of this arrangement. One, and I come at it from a couple of different perspectives, and I'm just not going to be long, but I want to reiterate some things I heard today. First of all, when I look around, you got good people here. No matter what side you're on, you got good people here, and they're here because they care, right? We all care, right? And I want to pose one question to the council, and is this. This is not an either-or proposition. You can do one and then figure out the other, right? And then I will say that we talk about neighborhood development. Well, I want to tell you, outside the city of Cleveland, there's neighborhood development, right, that has to occur. And some of it is really incumbent upon the cities to be the spur of that development, right? And whether the deal goes forward or not, Warrensville is going to still exist. Cleveland's going to still exist. Shaker's going to still exist. We're all going to find a way. But I would tell you, I want to say here that I heard commentary about how Cleveland, what it used to be. I was at Richfield. I did that. I remember what this was downtown. I remember distinctly arguing with Michael Jordan on planes coming into Cleveland, talking about, I can't wait to get out of Cleveland, right? And now you look at the public investment that we decided in the 90s, and this is what has transpired. There's 70 good people from Warrensville working at Quicken Loans Arena. I'm not even going to talk about the surrounding establishments around Quicken Loan. And I will tell you, each one of those people need that money. They do, right? And so I'm not going to stand here before you and say that I'm against this thing, but I want to say that I am a proponent of this. You can do both. But in doing both, you're going to make some hard decisions. This county, these cities are going to make some hard decisions, right? I'm very well aware that there's a mental health advocacy need out there, an addiction need out there, neighborhood development needs out there. But also, you'd be fooling yourself if you think that without an engine downtown to help keep this thriving, because we made an investment here years ago that it will not continue. If you don't believe me, I was with these Sonics in Seattle, and go ask the folks in Seattle what happened when everybody got cute with the deal downtown, and that's why the Sonics are in Oklahoma City today. Right? And think that you get some folks that say that, hey, well, let them go. I can tell you there's a number of cities out here still looking for a franchise. So let's make sure that we stay focused on the issues at hand. And the issues at hand, and they're, like I said, they're valid points. And I saw the passion in the room, right? And the ones that were most passionate, I know them, right? I just wanted to say this for everybody's consideration, right? It does not have to be a this or that proposition. You can do one, and we can talk about doing the other, right? So I just want to make sure that everybody stays that. But the city of Warrensville is distinctly behind this deal. Thank you.
The next speaker is Eddie Taylor.
All right, there you go. Good evening. Eddie Taylor, a business owner in town and immediate past chair of an organization called the Council for Economic Inclusion that produces equity in the African American and folks of color community, especially from a business standpoint, and also a member of the President's Council Business Chamber, a chamber of commerce representing African Americans 200 plus strong. I'm here in support of this investment, and I do look at it as an investment. The criticisms that have been lobbed certainly are understandable, but the leadership necessary to continue this investment, I think, are just as important. This isn't about basketball. It's about our future, and we need to, by all accounts, to keep this momentum going. The Q attracts 2 million people a year to events. Many of these people don't live in Cleveland or Cuyahoga County, but they come here to Cleveland and they patronize restaurants and bars and hotels and other businesses. It's a very welcomed investment from visitors to our city, one that translates to over $20 million in tax revenues for the city and the county. Is the Q a cure-all for all that ails Cleveland? Of course not. It's an economic engine, plain and simple, that generates tax revenues and jobs. Without question, yes, it means jobs, over 2,300 jobs to be specific. So when we have our young folks in town who haven't been able to visit the Q or the restaurants, well, the answer in many cases is job creation, and that's what the organizations I'm a part of represent. I agree that Cleveland and the county, like all metropolitan areas, have many needs, but the reality is that arenas like the Q need to be upgraded and kept current in order to remain competitive. Being a city with major league sports teams always requires some sort of public investment. In this case, the Cavs and the Q, I believe the investment is worthwhile. Is $70 million a lot of money? Of course it is. But those costs are much, much higher in other American cities where instead of investing in upgrading their existing major league facilities, they're building new ones. Look at Atlanta, for example, where Major League Baseball's Braves left a 20-year-old Turner Field in downtown Atlanta for a new $672 million facility in the suburbs outside of Fulton County. The county where the new stadium is being built is spending more than $400 million on that project. And by the way, the Q is 23 years old, as we've heard, older than the Braves ballpark and the second oldest facility in the NBA. In Sacramento, Milwaukee, new arenas are being built to the cost of around $500 million. Is $70 million a lot of money? Again, yes, it is. Is it a lot less money than the $500 million we spoke of? Of course, once again. Another important part of this for me is that the Q and the Cavaliers invest in our community, and specifically the African American community. The Q has signed on to the Gateway Inclusion Policy, which focuses on diversity and inclusion. The Cavs rank in the top 5 in the NBA for both percentage of full-time minority staff members and a percentage of women full-time staff members as well. The Cavaliers' full-time minority staff members percentage is approximately 34%. While the overall full and part-time combined minority staff percentage is 44%. Again, investments in our community, jobs for our community. Quicken Loans Arena and the Cavs have delivered more than $42 million in community, civic, and charitable funding each. And each year the Cavaliers are able to positively impact more than 100,000 children in Cleveland and elsewhere in Northeast Ohio. This is a sound investment. Thank you.
Kathleen Moser.
Good evening. My name's Kathleen Moser, and I have lived in Cuyahoga County my entire life, about 20 years. And I just want to start out by saying that I love my city, and I love the Cavs just as an ex-person. And I took to the streets, and the Cavs won in June 2. And I think we can all agree that it was a pretty incredible feeling to really have everyone come together and feel united. But with that being said, that is not every day on the streets in Cleveland. And these are streets that I really think hold great poverty as well. We have fellow human beings and members of our community literally sleeping on the ground as their home. Our shelters and programs are grossly underfunded. In 2014, we had 230,000 people living in poverty in Cleveland. 21,000 of those people were homeless, and that number is estimated to have gone up. So are we really going to allocate these resources to things like building a sports arena when we have people in our community in need and literally sleeping on the ground? And council, I have to tell you, I have a brother who has schizophrenia, which is a degenerative disease of the mind. And he bounces from home to home, and he struggles to find funding here in Cuyahoga County. And he often finds himself as one of those 21,000 homeless citizens. We do not have adequate public mental health funding here in Cleveland, and we don't have public residential care. And many of the people that are mentally ill do end up on the streets, and the ties between mental illness and homelessness are often steadfast and devastating. And if we really want to save the city money, I think we should consider that on average it does save $16,000 per family that we take off the streets. In these cases, they're about our fellow citizens, and we talk about bringing life to the city and helping the city, and I think that also involves helping the people that live in the city. And I think that I liked that someone mentioned earlier that we're funding something that a lot of the people we're taking money from can't even go to because they can't afford it. And I'd ask that you would consider not just funding this, but funding other things in the future, whether it be reallocating the money from this or matching the funding that you're taking from this to help other people in need, because I think that a community is not necessarily judged by how nice their sports facility is or by their casinos or even their bike trails, but by how they treat those most in need. Thank you.
Andrew Shearer.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. I wanted to start off by saying that I am a huge fan of the Cavs. I was there, as Kathleen said, on June 2nd. I was there December 25th when we played the Warriors. But that doesn't excuse spending all this money on building a new sports arena when our own are suffering. I don't want Cleveland to be a rusty car with nice, fresh paint on it. And when you peel back that paint, there's still rust under there. Putting on a good face is not going to convince anyone that the 55,000 people asking for help in housing to your Cuyahoga County board, to the Cuyahoga County, where are we at here? The Cuyahoga County Selective Housing, subsidized housing. We need money to go to them and get those people in homes to remove mental health disorders from our streets, as those go in hand. We can't expect these jobs from this Quicken Loans Arena to last forever. And when those jobs run out, where do these people go? The new house they bought or the new car they bought, what are they going to do then? We want to have continued job growth. And the way you get continued job growth is putting the people who matter most to your community in a house. You can't expect somebody to be able to go to a job interview with no home, no car, no place to shower. Nobody's going to hire that person. We need to be their rock, and we need to help them so that they can help themselves. So I want to say to all of you that I would like nothing more than if you can find money for the Cavs, you can find money for your own people. Thanks so much.
Mr. President, that concludes the public comment for the Q issue. However, there are 3 persons who have requested to address council on homelessness. So Council President has asked that I bring them up at this time as well. The first speaker is Nathan Manthe.
Hello, County Council. Oh, sorry. My name is Nathan Manthe. I'm a practicing artist in the Cleveland area, and I'm here to talk to you about the current contract that's up for bid for staffing concerns at the Norma Hare Women's Center. Basically, my interest takes place last year. I was a senior at the Cleveland Institute of Art, and I took a course called Project Find. The objective of that course was to establish relations between artists at the Cleveland Institute of Art and homeless and other displaced communities within Cuyahoga County. Our first stop was at the Norma Hare Women's Center, and we met with an employee there, the name of Richard Carr. That employee asked us what kind of art project we'd be interested in, and after discussion with him, he told us that the project that he thinks that would befit Norma Hare would be a hard or metal sculpture outside of the building, and the reason for that was because he claimed the women that came there were angry and vengeful, and that to have a metal or a sculpture made out of anything besides metal would ultimately mean it would be abused and torn apart by these women. I didn't appreciate that distilling of the spirit of the homeless women, so I met directly with them, and we created a project where they would go out on empty lots, since there are a surplus of empty lots in Cuyahoga County, and they hosted mock groundbreaking and ribbon cutting ceremonies for fictitious women's shelters. And at these, they got to create their own speeches, and they got to sarcastically thank whoever they thought should provide these for them. When I voiced the original idea of this project to the director of the Office of Homeless Services, or I believe she's the director, it's Ruth Gillette, she dissuaded me or tried to dissuade me from continuing on with this project. And she said essentially that the women would be confused by the idea of this project, and that they would believe that the shelters were actually being built, and that they would essentially be angry by that. And my problem with that is that these people that represent the staffing at the shelter do not hold the women in high esteem. And if you're a social welfare program, you need to care more about the people that you're delivering that social welfare to. I believe that Frontline Services, and I've talked to several members of the Norma Hare Women's Center, all of them have complained to me about the current staff of Frontline Services, and there is some slow improvement, but I know there's finally other contract bidders for the staffing concerns this year, and I want the committee to strongly consider going with those other bids besides Frontline. That's the end of my statement.
The next person is Ms. Lowe, or Lou, I'm sorry, Ms. Lou.
Yes, I'm only short. Good evening, everybody, and happy Valentine's Day. The original plan, I was not sure that we couldn't utilize the big TV screen here. Originally, I came here because I want to tell you guys, all of you are homeless people's Valentines. Father Valentine sacrificed his life back in the time to marry young couples, so they didn't have to be drafted to conquer the world for the emperor. So he was really the helper saving lives. It's not actually about roses and chocolates, but since it has been commercialized, and so I will get in there. Originally, my plan was to treat you with a Valentine's dinner. So Ms. Jin has the material, so if you still want to enjoy dinner, you can go ahead. But I'm here, I didn't know that today the people are very concerned about Cavalier's facility, and some non-homeless people actually concerned about homelessness. Actually, right now I'm here to let you know, I really thank you for all the efforts since last year. And I hope the things will go better, but I already told you in the last meeting, I don't think the hope will be there. Because the process to change the service provider is based on the proposals. The people reading these proposals, they don't actually know what kind of struggle homeless people have inside of shelters. Because there's no process set in there saying they can talk to residents in homeless shelters. And now, there was a TV news on it about homeless shelter, especially the one on Payne Avenue. Some people actually say that's an exaggeration. I will guarantee you, that's only the tip of the iceberg. And that's the reason why I will invite you for the dinner. If you don't get it tonight, Jean will make sure you will enjoy that tomorrow in email. On the other hand, there's some other people having the idea, try to make homeless system more efficient by putting time limit on homeless shelter stays. Actually, last month in Homeless Congress meeting, the director of Homeless of HUD Services was there. One member actually told her in front of everybody loud and clear, this is what she said. How long I want to stay in a shelter, it's not your business. If you want to put a limit on how long I stay, how about put a limit on those service providers and see how fast they can get us help? Unfortunately, that's true. In the past 5 years, at least, you probably won't hear the name of your caseworker until 6 months after you stay there. So I really don't know what kind of time limit we should put on this whole thing. Maybe we should just close down the shelter, put everybody down the street. In that case, we don't have to worry about that anymore. Thank you.
The final speaker is Rosie Palfy.
Good evening, council members and Mr. Budish. I'm sorry, I got choked up listening to all that. Hi, Councilman Miller. My name is, I'm sorry, this is embarrassing. Some of you have seen me here before. My name is Rosie Palfy, and I'm a homeless advocate. I've been a member of the Homeless Congress since 2008. I joined while I was homeless, and I've been involved ever since. Last year, I finished an 8-year stint on the Office of Homeless Services Advisory Board. We were reconfiguring the board, and I didn't reapply because I wanted currently homeless women or men to have their voices heard and take my seat. I'm also currently on the Department of Justice, Cleveland Police Department's Mental Health Response Advisory Committee, which was created as a result of the consent decree, and I represent homeless people and veterans. Sorry. The reason why I'm choked up is I have been hearing these complaints ever since I became an advocate. And I'm a veteran, and because I served my country, I didn't have to go stay in the so-called House of Pain. I was able to go stay at Westside Catholic, and I was a white girl from the suburbs. I didn't even know how to access services. I didn't know where to find a homeless shelter, and luckily I had a caseworker at the VA to help me navigate the system. And I didn't have to stay at Norma Herr. I survived being in the Marines. I learned how to kill people with my bare hands in boot camp, but I can tell you, I would not have survived that shelter. And when I was waiting to check in at Westside Catholic to do my intake, other women who'd experienced homelessness were sitting around, and they were telling me I was lucky to be there because they said that Westside Catholic Shelter was the homeless Hilton, and that it was the Cadillac of shelters. And I didn't know why at the time because I wasn't an advocate. However, yes, they have a nice building. They have, a smaller caseload, but it's the way the women are treated there. And so I'm not here to criticize anyone. I appreciate all of the council members who have come over the years to listen to our concerns at the Homeless Congress meetings. Councilman Miller was there last week. Councilwoman Conwell has spent a lot of time and energy. She secured more funding for the shelter, for staff. She secured more beds. But I can tell you, you saw how packed it was here earlier. People weren't allowed to come in, and that shelter was made for 130 people. There are 215 there now. Councilwoman Conwell, I think, was able to get 30 more beds, but there are probably 45 women sleeping on mats on the floor every night. It is a dangerous situation. The other thing is, if you change the service provider, It's not going to fix all the problems. The shelter is still overcrowded. I'm not here to criticize Ruth Gillette or Frontline Service because everybody who works in this field genuinely cares about the people they serve. But the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. There are a lot of women suffering from addiction and mental illness, and what gets all the attention in the county is the opiate crisis. And we have been advocating for years that we need a disabled shelter for women. Homeless women are an afterthought because they're a minority of the homeless population. There are mentally ill homeless women there who are in danger. They're preyed upon by some of the women there. It's overcrowded. There are safety and security concerns because there are fights there almost every day, despite the fact that an off-duty Cleveland police officer works there to provide security. So basically what I want to tell you is that we need a transparent grievance process there. There are food issues, and Frontline does not provide the food. Another organization does that. So I just want you to be mindful when you're making these decisions. There's not enough money for staff or for the shelters, and that is a big problem. The other thing is there's no computers there for the women to create resumes and get on their feet and become self-sustaining and self-sufficient. So we need programs, and I didn't realize the Q budget was on the agenda tonight, but I can tell you, you need to ask yourself, are you serving the people of Cuyahoga County? Are you serving the people, or are you serving the sports teams and entertainment? You know, I think it's been a miracle that nobody's been seriously injured or killed there, because there are women attempting suicide, and there are women who need to be in a special shelter. But you need to ask yourself, if something tragic happens there, how much is it going to cost the county to settle a lawsuit when you could have spent that money preventing a tragedy? And it's just an accident waiting to happen. So thank you very much for listening to me.
No, sir.
All right, Madam Clerk, what I'd like to do is, if possible, is jump to the item that's been under discussion for most of the evening, under consideration of resolutions for first reading and referral to committee. That would be number 8. If you could read that and we could take care of that, it might be helpful.
I would be glad to. Resolution number 2017-0030, authorizing the issuance and sale of one or more series of county revenue bonds in an aggregate principal amount that will generate net proceeds of $140 million for the purpose of paying or reimbursing the costs of reconstructing, refurbishing, renovating, upgrading, improving, and equipping Quicken Loans Arena, together with appurtenances and work incidental thereto, and for the purpose of paying any capitalized interest on the bonds and paying the costs of issuance in connection therewith, authorizing the preparation and use of one or more preliminary official statements and the preparation, execution, and use of one or more official statements, approving and authorizing the execution of one or more trust indentures or supplemental trust indentures, and one or more continuing disclosure agreements, authorizing other contracts and other actions related to and necessary for the issuance of the bonds, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
We will refer this to the Committee of the Whole, and that meeting is scheduled for next Tuesday, February the 21st at 2 p.m. Now we'll revert to the regular schedule. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes of January 24th, 2017, Committee of the Whole, and January 24th, 2017 regular meeting? Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. The minutes are approved. I do not have an announcement. Is there a message from the county executive?
Yes, Mr. President, it's rather lengthy, but I will pass tonight. Thank you.
Legislation introduced by council, consideration of a resolution of council for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution number 2017-0020, adopting various changes to the Cuyahoga County non-bargaining classification plan.
This will be referred to Human Resources. Legislation introduced by executive, consideration of resolutions for first reading adoption under suspension of rules. Could I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Councilwoman Brown. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. The rules have been suspended.
Resolution number 2017-0021, amending the 2016-2017 biennial operating budget for 2017 by providing for additional fiscal appropriations for appropriation transfers and for cash transfers.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. President, my colleagues, this is the regular bi-monthly fiscal agenda. We submitted questions to Budget and Management, which they satisfactorily answered, and the answers are on your desks. And the major items are a number of items regarding adjustments needed to close grants out. Also, $3 million for property demolition in anticipation of awards to communities, $1 million for our annual payment for the Pay for Success program, which we hope to recoup later if the program is successful, and $1 million for the county's educational assistance program, and also quarterly transfers for health and human services programs. I ask for the support of my colleagues.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2017-0022, approving an amendment to a collective bargaining agreement with Cuyahoga County and Teamsters Local 436, affiliated with International Brotherhood of Teamsters, representing approximately 38 employees in 17 classifications at the Department of Public Works Division of Maintenance for the period January 1, 2015 through December 31, 2017, to establish terms of the wage reopener and to modify Article 31.
Motion to adopt?
Second.
Moved and seconded. This was discussed in executive session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2017-0010, approving wages for a collective bargaining agreement between Cuyahoga County and Laborers International Union of North America, Local 860, representing approximately 129 employees in various classifications at Juvenile Court Detention Center for the period January 10, 2016 through December 31, 2016.
Move to adopt. Been moved and seconded. This was also discussed in executive session. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2017-0011, approving wages for a collective bargaining agreement between Cuyahoga County and Laborers International Union of North America, Local 860, representing approximately 110 employees in various classifications at Juvenile Court Probation for the period January 10, 2016 through December 31, 2016.
Move to adopt.
Been moved and seconded. It was discussed in executive session. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. Consideration of resolutions for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution number 2017-0023, confirming the county executive's appointment of the Honorable Anthony J. DeSico to serve on the Cuyahoga County Planning Commission representing the Hillcrest region for the term January 1, 2017 through December 31, 2019.
Go to Human Resources.
Resolution number 2017-0024, confirming the county executive's reappointment of the Honorable Timothy J. DeGeeter to serve on the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District Board of Trustees for the term March 1, 2017 through February 28, 2022.
HR.
Resolution number 2017-0025, confirming the county executive's reappointment of various individuals to serve on the Cuyahoga Community College Board of Trustees for various terms. J. David Heller for the term March 27, 2017 through March 26, 2022, and Victor A. Ruiz for the term January 18, 2017 through January 17, 2022.
HR.
Resolution number 2017-0026, making an award on requisition number 38497 to Perk Company Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $6,913,335.59 for resurfacing Turney Road from Warner Road to Hathaway Road in the cities of Cleveland and Garfield Heights. Authorizing the county engineer on behalf of the county executive to make an application for allocation from county motor vehicle $5 license tax funds in the amount of $3,111,001.02 to fund said contract.
Go to Public Works.
Resolution number 2017-0027, making an award on requisition number 37349 to Mott McDonald in the amount not to exceed $2,143,423 for design engineering services for repair and resurfacing of Sprague Road from Webster Road to York Road in the cities of Middleburg Heights, North Royalton, Parma, and Strongsville.
Works.
Resolution number 2017-0028, making an award on requisition number 38634 to J.D. Williamson Construction Company Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $1,696,926.45 for replacement of Avery Road Bridge number 01.16 over Chippewa Creek in the city of Broadview Heights. Authorizing the county engineer on behalf of the county executive to make an application for allocation from county motor vehicle $7.50 license tax funds in the amount of $339,385.29 to fund said contract. Resolution number 2017-0029, amending the 2016-2017 biennial operating budget and capital improvements program for 2017 by revising projects, estimated costs, and schedule.
Finance and Budgeting.
Resolution number 2017-0031, making awards on requisition number 36437 to various providers in the total amount not to exceed $650,000 for environmental consulting services for the period October 1, 2016 through September 30, 2019. The awardees are HZW Environmental Consultants, Hull and Associates Incorporated, and Partners Environmental Consulting Incorporated.
Economic Development.
Resolution number 2017-0032, authorizing an agreement with Chagrin Valley Dispatch Council in the amount not to exceed $2,545,000 for countywide criminal justice data sharing system services for the period March 1, 2017 through February 28, 2022.
Public Safety.
Resolution number 2017-0033, authorizing amendments to contracts with various providers for staff secure and secure shelter care services for the period March 1, 2016 through February 28, 2018 for additional funds with Carrington Youth Academy in the amount not to exceed $2,038,638 and with the Cleveland Christian Home Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $588,015. Additionally, Councilmember Hairston would like to be added as a sponsor.
All right. Refer to Public Safety.
Resolution number 2017-0034, authorizing an amendment to master contract number CE 16056 for various services for the Cuyahoga Tapestry System of Care for the period March 1, 2016 through December 31, 2018, to change the total amount not to exceed from $5,700,000 to $8,102,048.20, and to authorize funding increases with various previously approved providers for the services and the providers and in the amounts as printed on the agenda.
Refer to Health and Human Services. Committee report and consideration of a resolution for second reading.
Resolution number 2017-0015, authorizing a sole source contract with Manatron Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $536,429.92 for support and maintenance services for the Manatron Visual Property Tax System and Sigma Gamma software system for the period January 1, 2017 through December 31, 2017.
And we'll move to the February 28, 2017 council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption. Committee reports and consideration of resolutions for second reading adoption or suspension of rules. Could I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. The ayes have it. The rules are suspended.
Resolution number 2017-0012, confirming the county executive's appointment of Dean E. DePiero to serve on the Cuyahoga County Public Library Board of Trustees for the term February 1, 2017 through January 31, 2024.
Second.
Yes, Mr. Chair, this candidate came before the Human Resources Appointment Equity Committee and has the qualifications needed to fill this position, and we respectfully request the council's support.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2017-0013, authorizing an amendment to contract number CE 1300-551 with Schindler Elevator Corporation for elevator maintenance and repair services for various county facilities for the period December 1, 2013 through November 30, 2016, to extend the time period to November 30, 2017, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $655,000.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion on the item?
Mr. Chairman, on February 8, 2017, Public Works Committee met, and Matt Reimer of the Public Works presented the resolution, which extends the original terms of the 3-year contract by 1 year. The county has been operating on a month-to-month contract since it expired, and they'd like to get this contract complete as it covers compliance, maintenance, and repairs, and I would ask my colleagues' support on this.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2017-0014, making an award on requisition number 38463, excuse me, to the C.A. Agresta Construction Company in the amount not to exceed $2,947,728 for the 2016 Operations Resurfacing Program for resurfacing Noble Road from the Cleveland Heights North Corporation line to Mayfield Road in the city of Cleveland Heights.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, Dave Marquardt of Public Works presented before Public Work Committee on February 8, 2017. The contract covers 1.63 miles of Noble Road to Mayfield Road. The project is ADA compliant, including curbs and ramps. It meets the county diversity goals and as well as going to the lowest and best bidder. And the estimated startup date is mid-April 2017, and completion estimate is October of 2017. And I respectfully request my colleagues' support on this as well.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2017-0016, authorizing an agreement with the Metro Health System in the amount not to exceed $1,382,750 for pediatric foster care joint program services, toxicology services, and psychotropic medication review services for the period January 1, 2017 through December 31, 2018.
Been moved and seconded.
Yes, Mr. Chair, these services are for roughly 1,800 children that are currently in the county's care. Only 70% out of this is funded from the HHS levy dollars, and that's the amount that you have before you. The 30%, the additional 30% that goes with that 70, as well as the other things, are funded by the state child protection allocation. So only 70% of this contract comes from our HHS levy dollars. So I ask everyone for their support.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2017-0017, authorizing amendments to contracts with various providers for emergency shelter services at various locations in Cleveland for the period January 1, 2013 through December 31, 2016, to extend the time period to April 30, 2017, and for additional funds for the contracts, providers, and in the amounts not to exceed is printed on the agenda.
Move to adopt.
Second.
And seconded.
Mr. President, this contract is amended till April until the RFP process is complete for the new contract. These are vital services, of course, as we heard many people state tonight, for our continued service for housing, for the homeless, as well as the services. And these are our most vulnerable population. So I ask for
All those in favor?
passage.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye, the ayes have it. Resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2017-0018, amending resolution number 2015-0247, dated December 8, 2015, which amended resolution number 2014-0258, dated December 9, 2014, which made an award on requisition number 30390 to Caremark PCS Health for group health care benefits, including pharmacy benefit management services for county employees and their eligible dependents, and Cuyahoga County Benefits Regionalization Program participants, employees, and their eligible dependents for the period January 1, 2015 through December 31, 2017 by changing the total amount not to exceed from $42,989,733 to $60,652,540.67.
To adopt.
Second. Seconded?
Mr. Chair, with respect to items number 6 and 7, and for the sake of time, both of these items were thoroughly discussed in the Human Resources Committee meeting, and so that we maintain our county employees' benefits, I respectfully request my colleagues' support for both items. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, the resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2017-0019, amending resolution number 2015-0095, dated May 26, 2015, which amended resolution number 2014-0259, dated December 9, 2014, which made an award on requisition number 30390 to Medical Mutual of Ohio, doing business as Medical Mutual Services, for group healthcare benefits, including medical and pharmacy benefit management services for county employees and their eligible dependents, and Cuyahoga County Benefits Regionalization Program participants, employees, and their eligible dependents for the period January 1, 2015 through December 31, 2017 by changing the total amount not to exceed from $141,636,022 to $211,868,212.78.
Moved and seconded. And the councilwoman has already explained the resolution. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the resolution is adopted. Any miscellaneous committee reports?
The HR committee will meet at its regularly scheduled time, February 21st at 10 o'clock, to go over the items that have been referred from the agenda today.
Mr. President. Finance and Budget will meet on Thursday, February 23rd. It's a change date because of the holiday. It's at 1 p.m., the regular time, and we're going to hear the item that was referred on the capital projects, and also if anyone has any follow-up questions on the 2016 final actuals report, we can hear that as well. Thank you.
And the Economic Development Committee, again, because of the same reason, Monday being a holiday, our meeting will be on Thursday, the 23rd at 3 o'clock, immediately following the Finance Committee meeting. We'll be discussing one item that was given to us, but we will also be discussing the allocation of funds that was listed on last meeting, as far as the allocation on the 10 items that were discussed by Mr. Carter, and then the dollars that went forth for the economic development plans.
Mr. President, in addition, the Public Works Committee will meet on February 22nd, Wednesday at 10 a.m. at its regular scheduled time to review the legislation that was referred to this evening.
Thank you.
Mr. President, Safety, Tuesday, 12:30, had changed from 1 o'clock because of the council as a whole meeting. We have a lot to discuss, so I would suggest we will kick off at 12:30. I'm sorry about that, but we have no choice.
Health and Human Services Committee will be February 22nd at 1 o'clock. There will be a presentation as well.
All right, is that it? Miscellaneous business. I guess I'd just like to say that it's been quite an evening. We've heard a lot of people, a lot of very, very good people. And I wish that a lot of our friends had been able to or would have attended at some time the dozens and dozens and dozens of council meetings that have taken place over the last 6 years to get some kind of a sense for how much this county does about the very issues that they are concerned about. Because it becomes very clear after listening to our friends who we like and who we agree with, that they have very little understanding of what the county presently does and how it spends its money. And so I guess part of our job will be to try to educate the people in this community as we go through this process about what this county has done and what this county continues to do for the people in this county outside of this particular project that's under discussion. Any public comment unrelated to the agenda?
No, Mr. President.
This committee, this council is adjourned.
There you have it.
Thank you.